How you doing? How you doing?
I'll take you.
No, we see it.
What's that?
Hey,
Cody, can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn you up just a little bit. Hold on.
Ah.
Turn it up just a hair.
You didn't order it. One of those things like read out the desk. I'm like, sit on top of something. Those are two different ones. Where did I put this?
Perfect spot.
So you want to rethink where you're.
I have all these, those important things. I have places that I put them.
That's it.
That's it. I do not lay them down unless they're in one of those three places. I'll do it in the perfect spot. It's lost all the time.
All right, Tyler, you ready?
We're recording. It's on. Mr. Florin.
All right, good evening. I'm going to go ahead and call the Centerton City Council meeting to order for February 11th, 2025. Would everyone in attendance please rise with me and join me in the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you lead us in prayer? Everybody, please remain standing.
Standing for prayer. Father in heaven, Father, we thank thee for our opportunity this evening to serve this community. We're thankful for the opportunity that we have in each of our roles with the city. We're thankful for the citizens that are with us this evening. We ask that you bless us each with. We're thankful for the employees that help lead and guide the daily activities in our community. That you watch over them and bless them as they serve the citizens as well. We're thankful for them and the efforts that they make. We ask again that you will lead us and guide us tonight, that we will make decisions that are for the betterment of our community. We will be blessed for doing so, and we're thankful for all that we've been given. And we say these things humbly in the name of our Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, sir.
Cody Miles,
Here.
Joshua Hagan,
Here.
Josie Reed,
Here.
Wendy Henson, Justin Cowger, and Cliff Thompson.
Here. All right, so first on the agenda is approval of the city council meeting minutes from January 14th, 2025. They are in your Dropbox. We did make a couple minor changes to them. Nothing is, we added a date correction on the coffee with the mayor. That was about it. So no other changes. So with that, would somebody make a motion to accept the council minute?
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right. Would somebody like to make acknowledgement of the acknowledge receipt of the Water and Sewer Commission meeting minutes from December 17th and the Planning Commission meeting minutes from January 7th and 21st of January.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right. Next is our financial report. This is the first month, January of the year. And now we show 15.97% of our revenues. Don't let that fool you though, because we did have a carryover, like I explained last time, this is our beginning bank balance of $1.2 million. So, but we did have, a couple notable things. City sales tax was about 280,000, county sales tax 473, and then a little bit of property tax came in. And so that's where we're at. And then on the bills or the expenses, they are a little high too. We should only be about a little over 8%, but we had some carryover bills from the end of the year. But the good thing is we got more revenue and expenditures, and that's really what we're looking for. And then on the street report, if I don't go too far here. All right. So he's got 36% of revenue. The same thing with him though. He had a big carryover. He carried over $611,000 from the street fund from last year. And so we got that 36% revenue, and then 9% expenditures, just a little over where it should be. So That's it. And then the court report is in your Dropbox. We put it in there, or I put it in there at the same time.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions on the financial report? Hearing none. Somebody make a motion to accept the January financial report and also the January court report. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, next is department reports. The department reports are all in your Dropbox. And some of the department folks are here. Some are actually on Zoom, but you know, we got a little bit of illness going around City Hall. So, some are there too. So does anybody have anything on the department reports? Okay, hearing none.
No, just a comment. I
Oh.
want to say, well, I'm sorry. I really like his format. Not that I didn't like the other one before, but I really like his new format that he's got here. Really clear.
Okay, did you hear that, Rob?
Thank you, Rob. Good job on the
She
format.
says she likes your new
I
format.
like your new format.
Oh, Sherry for that. She did that while I was out.
Okay, yeah.
We'll keep doing it's what you say.
They like it.
To her to start doing, so. she made it, so.
Okay.
All right. So next is public comment. And this is an opportunity, if anyone would like to make a comment on anything, including things that are on tonight's agenda. I know a couple folks might have had some concerns about impact fees. This would be the time that you would state those comments if you have any, since we already had the public comment. But you do have an opportunity to come up here for 3 minutes. Todd will time it. And if you do, come give us your name, address, and your comments. And we'll take whatever you have under advisement at that point. So with that, does anybody have any public comments? Yes, come on up.
Good evening, Chris Mooney, 1325 North Main Street. Not on the impact fees, though it is a regressive structure that you contemplated. And does tax lower price dwellings more aggressively because it's a fixed rate, fixed amount as opposed to a percentage. What I wanted to talk about and draw everybody else's attention to, Wendy was there, as was the mayor, but the most recent planning commission meeting in which Walmart, they're out in the public, Supercenter and their proposal on the landscaping and parking, and that did not go well. So as members of this council, you need to be aware of that. You're representatives of the people of the city, and you need to give some focus to making sure this gets across the finish. It's the biggest economic development in the history of the city of Centerton. Okay. I just want to make sure you're focused on those upcoming meetings and maybe provide some input if appropriate.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else?
Skip Anderson and Anderson Custom Homes. We have a few projects in town. And,
Address.
sorry.
Just state it.
Speaker, so it's working.
Yeah, just state your address.
I live at, or my office is at 241 South Elm Spring Road in Elm Springs, Arkansas. But we have different subdivisions here in town. I'm just wanted to make sure that you all kind of knew what the situation was on the sewer capacity. I know that's a big topic that's going on. You guys get the packets from planning, and it's a lot to try to digest what all they've got going on and through the system and everything. Just breaking it down for somebody with a simple mind like me. We've got this section here with the blue. Those are the projects that maybe should be color coded red because they're completely stopped because of the health department and our capacity issues. All these in yellow, we were told back in April of last year that they did not have capacity and they would not be approved since April. As far as I know, no other subdivisions have been approved through the health department. So that's all those lots. There's 960 of them up here in the lots that are in process and basically almost to the health department that are going to be stopped. There's another 600 where people have started building subdivisions based on the fact that we were really just fixing some pipes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not one of them because I don't have deep enough pockets to build a whole subdivision without health department approval, but those guys are in huge trouble. And then we've got another 1,400 lots that are in the planning stages. So basically 2,800 lots being reviewed or approved that have no sewer capacity whatsoever. I've been going, I'm not just coming up here one time whining. I've been going to the Centerton utility meetings for the last 8 months, pretty much regularly, speaking my mind, trying to get some answers on what we had going on. And I understand these things take a long time, but everybody needs to know it's been nearly a year since we had a health department approval in the city of Centerton. And that's really what I just wanted you to know. It's hard to pick up in all these, I know there's 5 pages of the sheets from planning, but that's just breaking it down, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody about it a little bit further, but I know we only got 3 minutes and probably already went past it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Anyone else? So before let's close the public hearing part first, public comment. But let me give an update on the sewer capacity. We had several meetings last week. Malcolm has actually met with the Department of Health in Little Rock on Thursday of last week. And we've been working internally, trying to figure out what we can do to move projects forward also. And then Friday, myself, Lorraine, Malcolm, the mayor of Decatur, the mayor of Heifel, and their utility folks, we all met in Decatur. Speaking with regional planning and also the mayor. And here's where they're at right now. So they have applied for a permit, and they're working to upgrade the plant, but they've applied for a permit. The first one was for the headworks, that's where all the, stuff comes in. We'll just call it stuff for nice words, but no, where the junk comes in. But anyway, it all comes in there. Well, let me back up this a minute. So their plant is rated for 3.8 million gallons a day input. And right now between us, which we're putting about 1.3 million in, and a large commercial project south of our city puts the other part of it in there, they're basically at capacity. The mayor tells me they're about 95, 96% full. They can't take any more. And then if it peaks, then, that's where they're at. They are working to upgrade their permit. They feel like their plant is actually capable of doing about 5 million gallons a day. Yeah, 5 million gallons a day as it sits. Okay, so they're working with ADH on that. That's as far as they go. They also have the state legislators involved. I think Malcolm might have talked about a meeting they were having on January 6th, which I invited myself to, because it was really just for engineers and utility folks, but I went to that meeting. And they had like 12 different legislators there, plus Senator Hester, who's over the Senate. And he's actually helping try to move this thing along a little bit too. So where they're at now is they did apply for a permit to, increase the headworks. They also, they had to put it in the paper for 30 days, the 30-day period's up, so they're hoping the permit gets issued any day now. They have a contractor hired to do that. And they're actually understand they're mobilizing equipment or in the process of mobilizing it. I think some equipment's already there and they hope to start that part. Sometime in the very, very near future, hopefully in the next couple of weeks is their goal. That helps the inflow, that's fine, but you still got to process the stuff coming out. So they're halfway there. What the Department of Health has told Malcolm, and also you guys have gotten some letters that shows if they get some approved plans, they would, approve some of this stuff. And that's where we're at, the mayor was told multiple times, get them some plans, and they have somebody hired to do it. Get those plans in the health department, let them look at those plans and approve them. And then AEH will release some permits on contingent, which will allow us to start moving things forward. So that's basically where that is. I will contact the mayor every couple of weeks. He's going to send somebody to our Water and Sewer Commission meeting. So if you want to come, it's 8:30, Tuesday. I send you the stuff also, but I will stay in touch with him, kind of do what I can to help, get that thing moving along, because, he feels like the whole project would be complete in a year, but in the meantime, ADH, I talked to him at that January 6th meeting. They want to work with the cities. And it's not just Centerton, it's Centerton's held up. Decatur has a large project too, a large residential project coming in, which will probably double their population. Yeah,
Really?
houses, it's a subdivision, but I'm not sure, he told me who it was, but it doesn't matter. Highfield is in the same position too. Highfield's taking some of their flow and they're gonna reroute it to NACA, which is the regional plant down south of the airport. I mean, some will still come here. They don't really send us that much though in the big scheme of it. They send us about 65,000 gallons a day and, versus the 1.3 million we have. So that's where it's at. Malcolm is in the process of working with Lorraine and they're going to draft up a letter to the developers, stating the same thing I just said. So at least, we have some direction. And we have projects too. So we're just as excited to move things forward also. We have a community center we want to build and we can't turn no dirt until we get ADH approval also. So we have, the city has just as much interest and I want to see these things moving too. I don't want, because I get the calls, hey, Bill, what are we doing? And we're going to try to do everything we can. And again, we're talking internally, see if there's anything we can do, but that's basically where we're at. So, and I'm sure they'll might state that same thing in the water and sewer meeting, at the next week. But we also have been telling developers, hey, they have the water and sewer meeting there, come to those meetings, let them hear from you, just like you, when you come here. So, and we've had some developers show up. So, hopefully, we'll get things moving, because we want it moving too. So, I hope that's not the answer you're looking for, but that's what I know.
Yeah, we've been pretty involved with that, so we knew all that was going on. It just, the time frame that they're talking about is not a quick turnaround. We're talking 1 to 3 years to get it solved. And so that's what's been relayed to us about those meetings and all of that. So that's why we're panicked up. Well, I'm sure a lot of other people are panicked up.
One thing I also learned out of the January 6th meeting and the meeting we had, regional planning, this is not unique. The capacity is unique to us, but there's other cities that, have these like pinch points and basins and all that, and like a close by city, is having some issues with no more capacity in some basins and things too. So it's not just us. And I will say our water and sewer had some of those same pinch point issues too. I think we had 4 of them. And they've already done 3 and they've reported that back to ADH and they got 1 more. I think it's out for bid or it's already, been let. And hopefully they'll get that fixed pretty quick too. So that'll just help when all this moves along. So, all right. So with that, I've already closed public comments, right?
Yes.
All right. So we will go to ordinances resolutions, but before we start, I'd like to make a motion to read ordinance 2025-02. 03, 4, 05, and 06, and resolution 2025-05, 06, 07, and 08 by title only.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. Roll call, sir.
Cliff Thompson. Yes. Justin Cowger.
Yes.
Wendy Henson.
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan.
Yes.
Cody Miles.
Yes.
Okay, and then on ordinance 2025-02, 03, 04, 05, and 06, would someone like to make a motion to suspend the requirement to read this on 3 separate occasions?
So moved.
I have a motion. We have a second?
I actually have a question on one of them. Number 10, ordinance.
Okay, what's the question?
Okay,
4. You got a question on ordinance 4?
We'll get there eventually, but
well, you said by title only and do them all at the same time, so I just want to make sure I'm able to ask my questions.
yeah, you'll get it, right? You'll get questions each time I bring one up, yes.
I misunderstood what was stated then.
Oh, no, we're just suspending rules that required readings on 3 separate occasions.
Okay,
We do that regular. All right. Okay, so we have
A motion, yeah.
we had a motion. We have a second? Okay, roll call, sir.
Cliff Thompson. Yes. Justin Cowger. Yes. Wendy Henson.
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan.
yes,
And Cody Miles.
Yes.
All right. Okay, and Just so, yeah, each one of these, I'll bring it up, we'll talk, I'll explain what the ordinance is. I'll go over it, ask you guys if you have any questions, as I do every one of them, so. I hope I answered your question.
You did.
Okay, I want to make sure. I didn't want to act like I'm this guy.
Nope, I misheard.
All right, we're good. All right, so this first ordinance is ordinance 2025-02. This is adopting, the imposition, calculation, collection, and expenditure and administration of impact fees. So we did have a public hearing last month. We discussed, with the council. In the meantime, though, we met with the developer, myself and Lorraine met with the developer who also wrote you an email with some concerns. Actually got us to thinking a little bit, especially on the commercial one that he spoke about. Because right now, we have, and we'll just use retail, for instance, I got up on the screen for you. Retail project per 1,000 square feet is $12,000, $12,322. So if you have something come in here at about 180,000 square feet, that looks like about $2 million impact fee. And that's huge, and that's a good thing, but, also, some of these developers, like this one that I'm speaking of, is actually putting a traffic light in with a $3 million project on top of that. So it's not just them. He was more concerned because he has a smaller business and just the fee itself. So me and Anthony spoke a little bit about this, because, we can move them up, move them down, but what we'd like to do, unless the council has an objection to it, is, I would like to ask the council to table this.
Hold on,
Let-
commercial or
The whole thing.
Oh, yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can separate them out. And I'll let Anthony.
I don't think we can. It has to be all,
Okay.
right?
Go ahead, and then we'll go back to that.
Just to elaborate on what Bill said, after doing further analysis and stuff like, and looking further into this, I think that number is just too substantial. I think we're going to be hurting our community instead of helping it. At that number per 1,000 square feet. And you got to think about, yes, the major corporations or whatever may not have any issues with that. But these smaller companies, say you want to start a small business, such as one of our council members is doing currently, if you have a couple thousand square foot office, you could pay up towards the $30,000 or $40,000 impact fee, and that could vary some of these smaller businesses and local businesses. I'm not saying that we don't adopt it. I think we just need to provide you guys some more education and some further numbers to make a better judgment instead of jumping, because I don't want to rush into this and then we make a mistake.
How much did we pay for the fee again, the study?
70,000.
So my question is for the people who put the study together, what's their answer to that? Cause I'm sure they've dealt with large corporations, retail stores, like what do they say?
Well, their job is not to decide on what we apply. Their job is to provide what the max is, and it's our decision underneath there. There are some legal issues about shifting it up and down that with commercial wise, because we've already decided on residential. And so that's why I want to take a step back when it comes to the commercial development side until I hadn't even this just was talked this morning. Because we can't adjust the 1,000 square footage because that was brought up. Maybe we only charge per 10,000, but that would cause lawsuits.
Okay, so what does that do for construction though? Like things are so delayed right now. So how does that work for, if we're so delayed on construction, does that, I mean,
I didn't fully hear your.
what's the time frame? I guess that we would have an update then. On
Well,
the,
the only thing I'm looking at is the overall number. I have not done any, I haven't talked to a lawyer at all. I have not discussed it with other cities on how they handle it. Again, that number that is provided is the max number that we're allotted, not what we're required to do.
100%, but why are we walking away from residential and commercial?
Because they have to be accepted together. It's not,
It's disappointing. We've had.
it's not separated out.
I don't think the question was residential, right? We feel comfortable with the residential
Yeah,
number.
you guys have already,
Already discussed that, so I think it's
Yeah.
really the non-residential.
yes, ma'am.
Needs just a little bit more time to review to make sure that, yeah, we're not jumping out there a little bit quicker.
Most of it is honestly to meet with lawyer and talk about other cities on what we can actually do. Because when I did talk to the study company this morning, the first thing they said is that is a lawyer question. Because it's gonna amount us getting sued.
So what's the like next step? So talk to lawyer, then when we gonna have this?
I want to table till next meeting.
I mean, I would say like, I'd like to have an answer at the next meeting, because we've
No, I'll-
been on for 6 months.
I'll have the information for you to decide by next week. It's just everything was handed to me.
I know this is on you, but like, we've kicked this down the road for 6 months at this point. Like, let's lock it in for pass another commercial or residential plot, in my opinion. Will we have answers you think we will have answers by next meeting?
I'll have the information for you. It's not about answers. It's about just for you guys to. Again, I don't want you guys to rush into it and then we end up getting into a lawsuit. We also have to take into consideration of what's best for our community and how we're gonna make businesses thrive. And I think we're hurting smaller businesses by this number. You know, again, the Walmarts, the Targets and the big
I
corporations.
would agree with that. I'd say 75% of developers that build our community, especially commercial, don't even care about some of the things going on in our city. You've seen how many empty buildings have set for a few years at this point, which is frustrating. Very transactional. I'll just call it as it is, right?
Yeah.
Not on us. That's just, they want to make a buck and they're extremely high compared to neighboring cities. Has Rabel had a chance, Ryan, if you had a chance to look at this?
This is the first I'm hearing about the issue, so no.
He's looked at the ordinance, but he hasn't.
Yeah, I've reviewed the ordinance, but not the, you know.
That's what I'm saying. I have not had a chance to even discuss it with Brian. You know, out of respect for his time, I didn't even contact him today because it was dropped on me this morning.
The letter come in from the letter come in from the developer.
You talking about the one from Baps?
Oh, yeah, I don't know that Bill handled that.
That's right here. It came in on February 3rd.
Yeah. The
I
one
emailed it to y'all.
from Baps, right?
Yeah, he emailed it to you.
Or I think that's how you say it.
Actually, he emailed it to you guys directly.
I mean, first of all, it's a good call out. I just don't want to keep
We
kicking.
put, you know, up to this point, and including our last meeting, we put all the emphasis on residential and put all the thought process into that. But at no time did we step back and look into the development of businesses, which we highly need in Centerton, to help for growth, you know, from not only the city standpoint, but from our community. Because that's, you know, the tax base off our businesses is how we grow. So again, I'm not saying no, I just want you guys to have all the information and I need to discuss with legal on how we can shift those numbers.
Were you gonna ask something?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So the small businesses coming in, the impact fees will be charged, say like the strip mall down here. They build that, the impact fees will be charged on the building, not necessarily the tenant.
When the
No,
perfect
So if
holds.
they want to come and build it out, they're not gonna be charged another impact fee at that time. So it really wouldn't impact small businesses that are leasing space, correct?
Correct.
And then,
Pass it on.
It'll impact if they pass that.
Let's talk about the economics of renting. It goes to the rent.
right, but there's not gonna be an additional impact fee charged to that.
The existing buildings, there won't be any change. There won't be any implementation into their leases or whatever, because they're not going to be charged impact. Impact fees are only on new rooftops. So again, it's only, again, I'm not saying this is wrong. I just want you guys to make sure I've provided everything to you and I've done my due diligence with this. Where you guys can make a fully educated decision on it.
And then in the ordinance, and Brian may be able to answer this, the section about calculations and positions, so there's an offset section. So major improvements like stoplights and things like that can be used to offset the impact.
Tell me where you're.
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Yes, we'll use Walmart, for example. They are paying for the traffic light, which is over $2.5 million that we would have to pay out. The only thing that we can do with the impact fee is credit that portion back to them, not the 2.5 million that they're paying, but the road impact only. So they would still have to contribute their impact fee based on police and fire. So they still would be paying over $1 million in impact fee.
So it was by category, not by total.
Correct. And it's not by total number that they contribute. It's only their impact. And I'd have to issue credits for it.
So if they build a park, add a fire truck and all that.
I can just see this turn into an issue if we pass stuff now on commercial projects for the people who have voiced concern. And if we pass it tonight,
they may not have impact fees to their project, right?
The impact fees issue when they get a building permit.
Right, which would be,
No commercial project will be affected by this because there's no capacity going through, so there will be no building permit issued on new projects. So again, the delay right at this moment would only affect the residential homes that would be going up from, but even then, it still has to sit for 30 days after you guys approve. So we won't even see the implementation for residential till there's a test on.
but commercial, them right now.
We're not going to be accepting anything new. So it's really not going to be impacted that way. Because even the large development we're talking about, we're still talking a ways out. Before we would, see that. That's why I'm asking for you guys to table it.
I agree that we need to look at all the pieces. I can understand Justin's comment though. I think, I think it's important that we have all the information to make an educated decision for sure. That's a lot of money.
What questions do you plan to ask?
You talking to me? How we can shift, what is, if we took them, one of my biggest issues that I'm questioning right now is if we took the max on residential, do we have to take the max on commercial? And again, that was where I was referred, hey, you got to talk to your lawyer.
Good question.
So that was my main concern. I also want to talk to other cities in my position. And see what their numbers are. Because obviously most cities want to encourage businesses coming to their city. That's the name of the game.
I know what roads goes towards.
Sorry, say that again. I've been sick, and so my.
Roads bucket goes, so. And it may be something to look into, like roads, does it go, things on the dollar. On the fees, because a lot of the roads where the commercial could be state owned. No control.
True.
At that point, how do you charge something we may not be able to?
I think you can't look at it that way. You gotta look at it as all the people that are gonna be driving on all the other roads because of the commercial property that's there,
For the wear and tear that it would incur.
not directly on that
What
road.
what I found out through doing all this for the last year is impact fees were implemented and brought in for residential impacts, not commercial. That's something that was carried on at a later time. To me, when you bring in 400 new homes in a subdivision, greater on the surrounding area than a new development, saying, a Walmart. Because, technically the way they look at things is that community is going to be using that commercial business. Yes, it's going to draw in others, but a majority of that is going to be displaced from the residential to now they're in Walmart. So I'll use the capacity issue. If you're going to the restroom at your house and then you turn around and go to the restroom at Walmart, you're really not anything. You're just moving to where you went to the restroom, but it's still in that same capacity range. That's the way commercials kind of looked at through this. But if you put in 400 new homes, that's potentially, 1,500 new people that are moving in there, including 400 cars, if not double, because most homes have 2 cars, 3 cars with 4 to 5 people. So that's the impact was greater with residential, and that's why it was originally brought to, not to go into development. To me, when I did my research and was doing the study with this, the development part was used more for larger cities that they're more condensed in and less residential. And so they saw the high towers and, the 10-story buildings like you're getting in Bentonville.
My question is, and hopefully I'm asking this right, but so we went with the highest on the residential, say we move if we're able to change on the commercial side, is that gonna impact the developers wondering, okay, we're going less with commercial, but the highest with residential?
Maybe a zoning question.
That's the legal, that's the same, that's just looking at it from the other side. That's the same thought process I'm having that I need to clarify with lawyer.
Because complaints can come in and be like, hey, you did this, and that's also something, we did have some pushback, so.
I don't even see the other cities non-residential in the packet from last month. It's more so residential, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I didn't provide any commercial information for you last go around. Again, we put a lot of focus in the residential side. And didn't really put a lot of focus into that until we did the numbers, in which again, that's probably my fault at that area. that 1,000 square foot is a problem. Maybe if it was 10 or 20,000, that would be different, and then we scaled it for smaller businesses. That would be completely different, but that's a set fee at 1,000 square feet.
Surely if we ask a question to a neighboring city that has a lot of larger square foot dwellings, last 5-10 years, I mean, we could FOIA it if we had to. What's the impact fees of what you guys have charged? I think that'll answer our question.
And that's what I'm gonna
Even if we
get.
have to go that route, I know it's kind of playing a little hardball, but like we have to FOIA that and say, hey, we want to see it. I think that's gonna answer a lot of where it's upticked or went away, right?
All that stuff's public information anyways. You can Google it. That's how I've gotten some of the information from other cities in the state, not just local. Because they must publish it, because once you guys approve it, it's public information. And so it's out there. Again, I just haven't had enough time, because the question, was plopped in my lap. And then I was just like, well, that is, I haven't provided that for you guys.
Well, I'll make a motion to table it until you can do a little bit more research on it.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do I need to do roll call on that?
Would.
All right, let's do it.
Wood Thompson? Yes. Never hurts to do roll call.
Oh, no, never hurts.
Justin Cowger? Yes, I mean, with the understanding that we're gonna come back with more information next month, correct? And possibly vote. Wendy Henson,
Yes.
Josie Reed,
Yes.
Joshua Hagan,
This will be on the agenda next month.
Yep,
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
what you're hearing.
table until next meeting.
Cody Miles.
Yes.
And what I will do, as soon as he provides stuff to me, just like I've been doing all along, I'll send this to you. I assure you, you probably, somebody said I'm overwhelming with email, but, but I'll send it to you as soon as he lets me know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Anthony,
Thanks for all your work.
Anthony.
Anthony,
Anthony,
I thought last month that we were able to set these wherever we wanted to. I misunderstood there, and we just decided to go at the high because we could go down.
Okay.
Correct.
So I guess my thought, I don't understand why we couldn't move commercial side where we want to.
Well, I think that's
What's
what
the
you're gonna
question?
That's what I'm trying to confirm. That's okay.
Change.
Ideally, I would like to bring it back to you guys and say, okay, we'll leave everything here. You guys only approve $500 per 1,000 square feet, and we're good.
I don't feel like going through mediation again anyway, so that's fine.
Again, the problem is because y'all approved the max on residential. So I just want to, again, I'm not saying it's even a problem. I just don't have, I can't say 100% that there's not going to be a problem.
Make adjustments.
I want to open it up for a lawsuit and then cause problems. So I'd rather
Yes,
be
agree.
cautious and have everything right.
Yes.
another thing he said too is, you need to check, make sure if we have to do them proportionally, equally, I think he wants to look at that too. Because we bring one down, we have to bring the other, that's.
Last month, we didn't have to do that. That's what I understood last month. That was my question. With the,
That's the way I understood it as well. That was the question that was asked. Again, I haven't had enough time to confirm everything.
With development at a stall,
Right.
this is a great time to get this right.
All right.
Can I answer that?
Thanks.
Next is ordinance 2025 3. This is accepted right-of-way dedication from the Larry property. As per property line adjustment. This happened at 1755 West Centerton, which is that way. It's down past the nursing home over there on the outside of the road. Yeah. on the road. We're just accepting the right-of-way. Anybody have any questions? Okay, Counselor.
City of Centerton ordinance number 2025-03. An ordinance accepting right-of-way and utility easement dedications from Larry Martin House Family Revocable Trust for property located in part of the northwest one quarter of the northwest one quarter of section 05. Township 19 North, 31 West, City of Centerton, Benton, Arkansas.
Someone like make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-03.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Whoa, roll call, sorry. Roll call. Sorry.
Cliff Thompson. Yes. Justin Cowger. Wendy Henson.
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan
yes.
and Cody Miles.
Yes.
All right, next is ordinance 2025-04. This is a regional property that belongs to KBRB LLC. This property, and I've got it up on the map for you. This property is located,
Pomeroy, isn't it?
yeah, it's south of Pomeroy. And it's behind the water office, and it's also, there's a white two-story house there. It's behind it.
It's even behind another house that was done
Yeah.
commercial recently, right?
Yeah,
It was for sale for a little while.
Yeah,
Both of them have been for sale at this point.
yes. We're gonna deal with the other house for sale too next, but let's deal with this one first. So this was brought to the last planning commission meeting on February 4th. The planning commission did discuss it. Was a public hearing. There wasn't any public comments other than me. I came to it and I was just concerned. And this is, I wanted to stress though, we're only looking at a rezone, not the access to the property. But I was concerned with the access to this thing, because there's that little line right there. That does belong to them. This was a vacated street at one time, back in the 80s. The council vacated it, but it never got reassigned to someone else. So this property owner was able to do a quick claim deed on it or quiet title. He did something. But that's what it was, because I remember the man coming to talk to us. Anyway, so they did, this is now their property. I did bring up the concern of the access here, mainly just because, here at the end, it just didn't look like it works, but the applicant was there. He did state it'll be okay. They still have to come back if it gets approved to show all that to the planning commission. So today is just a rezone. That was the only comments on that one. And then the planning commission did go through the 5 questions, and they felt that this was consistent with the comprehensive plan, because you got R4 multifamily here right next door, and this is what they're asking for. And they also felt it was compatible with the surrounding area. And they felt it was compatible in this area, and it wasn't a benefit to just one landowner. And the only public comment I said was just, it wasn't really a objection, it was just stating a concern with the right of way, but again,
Is it Sadie Lane where it goes like, is this a
Sadie
street?
Lane-
for
Sadie-
parking?
say again. This only has one way in, and that's that way right there.
House, it's
Right, so I know the White House is.
directly behind it.
Yeah, it's just right behind it. There's actually, then there's another house next to it that we rezoned a while ago that has a older looking house on it. That's,
No, I was talking about.
yeah, so it's there. So that's all I have on that.
Those unanimously approved.
So who owns it? The person with the Pomeroy or what? Cause
No, it's- no,
at that point, right?
No, it's KBRB owns
Look
it.
at this.
Right, but how do you get to it if it's not a,
Here.
Right down this little road right here.
This narrow right
which
here.
is in between the Pomeroy and the house? So where the.
No,
where the
it's-
Our
road-
property is right.
Yeah, our property's the one just south of it. This one right there where I got a little plus sign, that's the city's property.
Right.
Yeah.
But they felt like, and then the fire department was here too, and they talked a little bit about it, what they built here, to sprinkle it and all that, but they'll deal with that at the planning commission if it's approved.
Guess I never knew it was there.
So
So again, the focus is, it's a rezone at this.
it's just a rezone only, yes.
Zone, is it compatible with the area? Planning department is unanimously voted in that it was approved.
Does anybody have any questions?
I guess I was looking online when I was looking at this, and I pulled up on the city website, I guess it's an old map. It's from land use plan,
Yeah, some, I can see.
and it doesn't have that part zoned R4.
Right.
The thin area,
Nope.
It's medium to high.
The
rise.
part that connects to Bliss.
because they just did the claim on it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but the land use plan's right there.
This
Here's
narrow-
land use
this
plan
piece
right here. Right.
So,
It's medium, high density, and that's what this,
no, the land, they're wanting to go high density,
Yes.
R4, which this is R3 medium high, correct?
no, R4
For
multifamily.
multifamily.
Okay.
R4 multifamily.
All right. What it is zoned now is not R4
It's
multi.
medium high.
It's R3, single family.
Okay,
This is a good time for Lorraine. What's the dwelling difference per?
yeah, that was one of my questions, actually. So,
Exactly in the packet, I left it there for you. It was in there.
167. R3 is a hot, is what?
12
Okay.
per acre.
Yeah, it's right there, right, I gave, it was in
I'm trying to put a tripods in there.
So what I read on the thing, I guess I'll direct this to Lauren, maybe the wrong person though.
your. Right, come on up.
He's wanting to put 18 units and he's wanting to do duplexes or fourplexes. Is that what it said?
The triplex, I think is what they said.
Well, we can.
And then I also thought I read that he was planning on selling it. He wasn't actually gonna build.
I don't know exactly what he is going to be able to put on there. What I read was that he was wanting to do duplexes and triplexes.
So is he doing it or is he?
But that's why I asked why it wasn't going R3 multi.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering too.
But then there was questions on the layout of the lot, so the width, that he may be able to get two buildings with 12 units or something.
Multi-story.
Into, yeah, a multifamily, so I'm not sure why.
Is that person here?
Here.
There you go. Talk, because I'm not exactly sure. What's the-
Check KBR.
Bill Ball, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and surveyor on this job here. My client just wants to put a couple of duplexes, maybe a triplex in there, that'll make him get a return on his money for the property there. So, and the reason he wanted to rezone it was he wanted to put 2 stories in, where 1 story wouldn't be allowed with the prior zoning.
I don't understand. He wants to,
Who wants to jam? I'm sorry, that's not the right terminology.
the R3 will not allow him to put duplexes on it.
Sorry.
That was our understanding.
So she's saying 12 units per acre for what it's
Versus
at now,
18.
and he's wanting to do, he's not saying he's wanting to, but what he's zoning it for, he can do up to 18, which more units, less space is, I guess, the most politically correct way for me to say that.
I don't, Lauren, maybe you can help me with this. I don't see how that,
Two-story.
Right.
okay.
Well, yeah.
I'm not seeing why it needs to be rezoned.
Well, he was doing, it was R3.
Single family.
Single family.
So that they were wanting to do at least duplex or.
At least a duplex or a triplex.
R3, they can't do a duplex or a triplex.
Multifamily, they can do up to
Single
4 units, attached units.
So you're asking.
Wanting to go R4.
R4.
So you're wanting to go the step even higher than needed. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing?
That option.
I don't.
Have that option, but he's not gonna. use
Yeah,
it.
but you give him that option, you turn around, let's say he doesn't end up building, and then he sells it, and he got, who knows what going on.
Yes. Is this also, you said we're about to do the next property over?
Maybe after that.
I hate when I do this. So.
That's, I mean, I honestly want to throw it back to the planning, I want to hear what y'all say. Throw it back to the planning commission to find out why it can't go R3 and then come back R3 multifamily.
Because that
Sorry.
was not what was
Sorry.
requested. They can only make a determination on what the request is.
Okay, then Lauren, why did they approve something that wasn't being asked for? And maybe I'm stating that wrong. That's just how I'm hearing.
They approved what was asked.
I'm sorry.
Is it okay?
The work that is wanting to be completed on the land is a zoning requirement that is less, unless I'm misunderstanding.
Hey, I got Kayla on here. She said she can help us explain it. Kayla's here.
I was assuming that the reason that they asked for the R4 multifamily is that it's adjacent to R4 multifamily.
Yeah.
So it would be compatible with that zoning, and should they desire to build, and they would have different setback requirements, but it would just be a little higher density. And then it's, you're going to see another rezone request for commercial on each.
I know that.
Yeah.
It's just, what I understand is that it was compatible and would give them more options on what they could develop.
That's a good.
Kayla is on there, so she.
I guess I just don't, this is a paid devil's advocate here. How do we think that that is adjacent when we have a 2-lane street, all 4 roads? At what point do we draw a line and say, this is not, I'm not saying you can't do it in the future, but like, we can't hold that with our road. It's terrible right now. Like, at what point do we draw that line?
Well, and there was.
I'm not even voting on townhouses. I'm voting on what is in that street. I mean, it is terrible. That's the worst road in our street right there, in our city.
I was at that meeting and there was a resident that was concerned that lived over in in Sienna, and she said she was worried about the traffic as it was, but I was told
Terrible.
this is a rezoning, traffic has nothing to do with it at this point.
There's no traffic study.
And that's correct.
Right.
You, I mean, while you're hearing potential uses, the only thing you should.
I know.
is the zone, not.
But
That's the zoning
but
thing.
it's kind of a bigger picture, Brian.
We're not going back to condo conversation, but like it's multifamily, the dwellings, you can take that into account. I'm not saying the person on the
Is gonna
project,
do that, yeah.
like even the dwellings in general, Brian, right? I'm not, again, not judging this scenario. But 12 to 18 landlocked behind that, we know what's coming next. I'm just saying, like, that's the biggest complaint from our citizens right now. Is that area is tough to do anything, honestly.
And there's only one way in and one way out.
I was gonna ask too.
And I think that's where's the solution working with a developer? I don't know.
I thought that was something that had to be done. You had to have two ways in for fire.
Not-
Am I wrong?
And that was
You
brought
can,
up
you can
too.
sprinkler it.
We've been looking at other options with doing some shared access, you know, on, when they come bring a development plan in, you know, where we could make shared access.
So Kayla was gonna say.
Hey, Kayla's here too, if you have anything else.
Apply with the covenant.
Kayla, you want to add anything?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to explain a little bit the difference between R3 MF and R4 MF and why I understood the client was more interested in doing the R4 MF route and why that's better supported with our comprehensive plan. So in our comprehensive plan, there's this is part of a node that for our residential growth pattern is more towards allowing a variety of housing types. And so this area calls for 7 to 11 units per acre. And R3 MF allows 8 units per acre, but the difference between R4 MF and R3 MF is that R3 MF allows 1 building per lot, which R4 MF will allow several buildings on a lot. And then R4 MF also requires 25% green space with development. So when they build density, they still have to have green space. And so this area of our downtown does call for a variety of housing. And in R4 MF, you can do any kind of housing. And you can have several buildings on one lot, but it's got a larger setback requirement.
Yep.
I don't know if that helped at all, but
Thank you.
And next to it is R3, single family.
that
R3
R3 single
duplex.
family you see is actually the cemetery, and then to the west is R3 duplex.
Thank you.
Which it's undeveloped.
Yeah. So when we talk about green space, like I'm noticing like the family that's north of or north of here. They've got a little green space on Bliss and there's a retaining ditch. Does that include green space or is a retaining ditch different?
It'd be behind that to the left, so almost it's in the trees, in the sticks right now where it's at. So if you're going to Pomeroy, go to the far left where the last dumpster is, I mean, it would be that land behind it. So you can really see it from Bliss right now. But I mean,
I'm not talking about this
that White
particular-
House, it's behind that area.
I'm not talking about this particular property. I'm talking about the one north. I'm actually just questioning what is green space? Can it be a retaining pond or does it have to be?
That were built to the north, that was back in like 2004 or something. I mean, there were no green space requirements at the.
Okay.
Back before there were.
Buffers or, now we have buffers depending on what goes in next to something else.
But it has been cleaned up. You got bricks around the dumpsters. Like there are some things that have made it look a little bit better around there. With Pomeroy.
City actually owns the corner.
Right.
When it,
No, no.
when it comes to green space,
We own that
when
too.
it comes to green space, what are we? What are the requirements for planning on green space?
Yeah, can you have the green space requirements for R4?
Yeah, so in R4 MF, it's not nearly as restrictive as if we were going through a planned unit development. in R4 MF, green space counts as anything that's green, essentially, whether it be a yard, or just open space, or their
Could it
pond,
be-
I believe, counts.
Could it be a retaining pond?
I believe so. Let me double check the code.
This is part of the up to 50% can be certain, like easements, retention ponds. It has to be, have like a feature.
Sidewalks that could go in here. Like Main.
We're working on changing some of the specific zones. Have it better described in the PUDs than we do in each zoning district.
As far as
So
accessibility, like, that's, I mean, I'm just thinking citizens. There's no sidewalks on Main Street. So like, keep that in mind.
well, there are some sidewalks up north of this, because we put them in when we widen that intersection up there. And I don't know about the future projects. I mean, I think when this thing gets wide, they'll add sidewalks.
No, but we've had to front the bill on almost all of those. That's why I'm asking if that's gonna be another multifamily, is that something that's an option that we can?
He's wanting to know we require sidewalks. I don't think on this one, I mean, that, except for that little piece right there, which I don't.
You can, with a project, you can require what we call off-site improvements. There's impact and providing the sidewalks. I was thinking Bill had a sidewalk grant.
Not for here.
Not for here, everywhere.
No, it's going, we're connected up to the north a little bit down, not the whole street.
Not going down this.
I'm thinking bigger.
We're not coming this far down.
To get to Main Street,
don't
we
have
know
easement.
what's down there, we know it could potentially come. There's no accessibility. I don't want scooters and all that stuff that we've had Lance pitch before, but. It is something to think about, like, is that an option?
Part of the issue here until they widen this is you get the big gigantic drainage ditches there.
Right.
But I don't want our city fronting the bill again for their $4 million in improvements.
I mean, if they widen it, then RDOT will put them in, unless we want wider.
They can't even get us a
Well, when that's
crosswalk.
gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be years from now.
So make sure that I understand the request. Basically, you came before planning with a request for R4 multifamily, because that's what you're next to, right? That's just north of you. So just being consistent with the land use plan, is that correct?
And you're the surveyor, you said?
And giving them more.
No, that was geared towards you, just trying to talk through it.
Sure.
And on what they'll be able to actually fit in there.
Okay.
It's like 3.5 building lots, basically, right? Or 3 building lots.
Actually, it's
Size.
2 lots.
Two.
Right, but in actual size, if you look at as far as how the size of the space, that would be very limited to what they can do with space.
It's true. And you got a sewer easement running across it on the west side.
So I think that's gonna restrict actually what they can build based off. of
Correct,
size.
yeah, they're very limited with that. Say that again. They're very
You
limited.
have to plan anything near that.
Yeah. The reason that you would have to go 2-story because of the fact that it's such a small area with an easement. And it's right next to 2-story apartment. 3 buildings.
Actually.
I mean, again, I think going back to what Kayla said was you're going from potential of 1 building to 2 or 3 in this small space. We've had this issue before on Bliss with a gentleman that has a lot with the trees that's cleared that wanted to shove it in there. Again, I think you're gonna have two
Yeah,
multifamily.
that's adjacent to single family. That's a
Yeah.
good point, Lorraine.
In your downtown.
No, I know, but I'm saying trying to fit that many dwellings in an area, but also there's 2 residential multifamily entrances on a 2-lane street on Bliss is with school buses and routes. That's just is it gonna have access from Bliss around the backside of Pomeroy or no? No.
You're not doing the development.
I think we're going down a rabbit hole. The question is the land use and
It's next to duplexes to the west and it's next to apartments to the north. Does it fit? And the planning commission says yes.
And they did go through the questions,
there's
and
6
all the
questions.
questions were answered. So based on that, they pushed it forward.
Yeah.
And I can answer your question about what the open space requirement is for R4MF if you're still interested.
Go ahead.
The green space.
You said-
So
I couldn't understand her, sorry.
sorry. So for R4MF, they're required to have a landscaped buffer not less than 10 feet wide along all property lines and include a 6-foot height opaque screening along all abutting residential properties of lower density. And then they have to have 25% open space, 15% of which will be visible from front or sides of the lot as seen from the public right of way.
Or my concern is putting too many people in a small space.
I think we have that north to north, right? Because we've already got.
But it was built years before any kind of regulation.
I think that one is around 12 units per acre. I think that's where I got the 12, but.
The one to the north.
Are they still doing parking over there, by the way?
So today it may fall under the R3 multi.
Still have those limitations on size of the property, the shape of the property, the accessibility, when they go increasing in units, then they have to provide parking for those. The R4MF, I will say, does have higher green space requirements and so especially the buffers and so forth than our others.
The R4 does, R4 multifamily.
How many family units are we talking about?
He's thinking about a couple of duplexes on each line. He did mention triplex ones,
How many family units are we talking about?
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
It's 2 stories, right?
I still don't understand why we need to go so high in the zoning then, 4 to 6 units?
So then you're wondering why it should.
6 families.
Within our R3 single family, most of those are 4 to 6 units per acre.
I'm saying total. I want to know how many total is going to go in there, not per.
No.
We don't know that yet because all we're doing is considering a rezone. The other part will come back through planning when they get ready to do that. They don't have an approved site plan yet. They're just asking for a rezone.
No, but
They don't know.
the feeling.
So based off of what it's worth about.
They could put in an apartment building with 18 units per acre. If they can work.
Squish it in there somehow.
And the setbacks.
The problem with that is when you go up, the setbacks increase. And you run out of space.
Right.
I'm good. I'm for peanuts.
Just to clarify, one thing not on the building, impact fees. This does not make them, if it goes through, obsolete from paying any impact fees in the future because of, correct?
Not until they draw a building permit.
I just, again, continue to bring multifamilies and impact, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, this is just the rezone.
I understand that, but like, depending on when the permits are pulled.
Right. It would still have to go through a complete development plan and through the whole process. Then they'll come back to you and you guys will be able to see entrances.
I was wondering,
At that
Yeah, we'll
point,
see that, the planning.
this is my problem with that, is that at that point, they said, what's consistent with zoning? We have the ability to do it. Right now, we're saying, is the zoning, I see it to the north, but that's been there since the beginning of time.
Grandfather.
Yeah. And so we're trying to say what's consistent with what's been there since the beginning before anything else is put in place. And if we give it the okay now, they come back, they're building consistent to the zoning we've allowed.
Right.
And that's why I keep bringing up.
Well, we're looking at commercial along the frontage.
Yeah, which.
Help.
No, it doesn't help me, but I appreciate it. I knew that was where the commercial's looking to go in.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about that R3 next door to it and the properties to the south of it.
It's,
It's,
across- I don't know if you've seen it. It's across a big ditch.
Well, I look at the map, I'm seeing some of that. I don't know. It's okay. I mean, we put it to a vote. I don't have. For it.
Tetris.
All right.
Yeah, I make a,
3Ds where all the open land and red, you know, do.
Can't discharge gun in city limits.
No.
All right, anything else on this before we?
Ready?
Go ahead, Brian.
City of Centerton ordinance number 2025-04. An ordinance to rezone certain lands within the Centerton city limits belonging to KBRB LLC from medium high density single family residential, R3SF, to high density multifamily residential R4 MF.
I would like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-04.
So moved.
Okay, two at the same time.
Second.
Okay. Josie and Cliff, I guess. I thought I heard.
Let's go, no, I didn't say a word. Cliff's going for second on that one. He wants it.
Okay.
He fought hard.
Josie, you got it?
He got it first, it's okay.
Cliff's got the second.
All right. Roll call, sir.
Cliff Thompson,
Yes.
Justin Cowger. No. Randy Henson,
No.
Josie Reed,
Yes.
Joshua Hagan,
No, the request is below what they're asking for.
and Cody Miles.
Yes.
Aye.
Tie.
All right, and I will vote yes to stay consistent with the planning commission. All right. And again, all right, let's leave it there. All right, so our next ordinance. Our next ordinance is ordinance 2025-05. And this is rezoned the property just to the east of this. And this is the two-story White House, I think, that y'all asked about. And on their request, they are wanting to transform this property into a vibrant community space, enhancing neighborhood appeal with a coffee shop and recreational amenities. That's what's in their application, while incorporating buffers to minimize noise and preserve privacy for adjacent properties. And one thing I want to mention, when I put what I do with these rezones, I also put the public notice hearing in there in your Dropbox, you know, with what they intend to do and all that, and staff findings and everything, so it's in there for you. You know, this, you know, it talks about the zoning and all that. So their request is to rezone this from
R3 single family.
yeah, okay, it's right there in front of me. R3 single family to C1. And this was heard at the last plan commission. There was public comment. There was one person who wrote an email, and Wendy mentioned their main concern was, and I'll just kind of summarize, it says, would be directly affected by rezoning the property. My backyard is directly across the street. Besides the loss of privacy, biggest problem would be traffic. It's already very difficult to exit Sienna Estates in the morning when people go to work and take their children to school, and when they pick them up between 2 and 3. Then there is another rush when people get off work between 4 and 6. How on earth would you mitigate that? In my opinion, this piece of property is too far into the residential neighborhood to be removed commercial. And this is a resident lives on DeCero Court. And then also Wendy addressed the council, and she was just more concerned with the parking. And like she said, that she was told that they would address that with the large scale development. But it was a good question. So, because you look at it, it does, but again, we're just considering the rezone only.
It's just hard not to look at the bigger picture with all of it.
Oh, yeah, and they'll have to come back with a site plan and the large scale development and all that when that time comes. So the planning commission at their last meeting, they did recommend this for approval. On the questions though, on the first one, they asked, is it consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? They said no. However, we are in the process of redoing the land use plan. And on the new land use plan, this whole corridor will be commercial. They stated in the meeting, it is compatible with the surrounding zones because you got C1 right south of it. And we actually rezoned that 4, 5, 6 months ago. There's a house there that's going to come down, and then the water office is next to it, it's C1. And then the next one is, of course, the city property, that R3 single family. So it wouldn't be a benefit to one landowner. And, you know, the public comments he did, like I said, I did give you. So.
I have two points on this. I can see the benefit because we're revitalizing downtown, it's close to downtown. So I can see a benefit of that, but at the same time, as it stands right now with Main Street being so congested, it's concerning because we already have, I mean, we talked about that with the last ordinance too. So that's, so I'm kind of on the fence with that one. So I'd love to hear y'all's input.
What point do we talk about capacity and septic fees again? Well, we have no capacity.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone?
I mean, I don't, it doesn't bother me that they would put that in there. I don't think it fits within our downtown plan from just even looking at it because it's beyond downtown. The subdivision across the street's gonna keep any kind of growth, from going that far north. Unless you do some major revitalization there with those homes.
Some stuff.
I mean, they're not,
We've got the cemetery not too far away, so,
well, that can,
but this right here, do we know what the plans are for this one, the C1?
It doesn't matter.
That's C1.
You see some trucks are tearing, I think they're in the process of tearing it down, so. That's all we know. We haven't seen any, I haven't seen any plans come through, because they include me in everything, so.
What, I guess that one, I'm just curious what
Yeah,
what made them make that C1 for this one.
for future downtown development,
Okay.
that's what they said when they came in here.
What's the requirements on sidewalks? For C1?
They would be required to put it along the property line and only, just on their property line, if that's what's.
So that would be from R3S or single family to Pomeroy?
No, just their property, just the area,
Section.
just that little section right there is all they would be required to do. As far as on Main Street.
With it just normal 6-foot sidewalks?
so they're not planning to get rid of the house, or are they planning to tear it down?
We don't know.
They are not planning to at this time.
So if they're not gonna tear it down, are they required to put sidewalks in just because they changed the
Yeah.
zoning? They are?
Yes.
Okay.
At what point though, Lauren?
It doesn't, yeah.
At what point?
We need the sidewalk connectivity all along Main Street. But we still have to look at where we put those sidewalks and what will get torn out.
We may expand.
At what point are they required to put it in though? What point are they required to put it in? Sidewalks?
Along their property.
At what point, like when?
When,
Plan.
when they develop the property.
Okay. You zone it to C1, what counts as development? Like tearing a building down, like
Well, they're not.
moving dirt, like what's that?
It's not in their plans.
I don't know what they're gonna do, because we haven't seen any plans for it. I think they've already modeled.
But it would show in the plans, is that
Well,
right?
it's on the plans when it comes
Yes.
to planning commission.
To change the whole site for a commercial use. They have to, besides just the building, then that's one main thing, they have to go with the provider to see what they can do with the building. But they have to submit a site plan along with utility connections and drainage. And that's what goes through the different departments, and then the planning commission gives approval on that development plan. And that's where those requirements for landscaping, road improvement, sidewalk, and all of that are made. When that property is actually developed for a use.
It's past, that may happen sooner rather than later.
Just wanna
anything else?
just wanna call out in there, it says. It's not consistent, but with future updates to the land use plan. Zoning will extend, again, that's also, it's not for sure in stone yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that piece
also,
of paper.
but also the adjacent property is B1 also, so. Which is
Yeah, to the north,
to the south.
south, sorry, south.
To the south, it's already C1, so. Any more questions?
And the zoning would be consistent with with the old city hall. That we are proposing that we put in a coffee shop. So what they are, the zoning would propose that they would be able to do the same type of thing.
Yeah.
That's what we are trying to encourage.
Yeah.
2 blocks away.
Right.
That's just what happens.
What'd you say, Cliff?
He didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry, I just heard something down there. All right, anything else? Good luck on those names. Yeah.
City of Centerton ordinance number 2025-05, an ordinance to rezone certain lands within the Centerton city limits belonging to the individual owners of Ag, Palish, Pele,
You're the one.
Coomer, Gale, and Satish K. Game from medium high density, single family residential, R3SF, to central business district, C.
So I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-05.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
That's it.
Cliff.
Okay.
I heard Cliff distinctly.
Yeah, let's
That's just the way you pronounce
We'll
it.
do a roll call, sir.
Cliff Thompson,
Yes.
Justin Calgar. No. Wendy Henson,
Yes.
Josie Reed,
Yes.
Joshua Hagan,
Yes.
and Cody Miles.
Yes.
Oh, he's still there. Okay. All right, that one. All right, the last,
Yes.
what'd you say, Cliff? Oh,
He
Cody?
said yes twice. He loves it.
Twice. Okay, we got you twice, Cody. All right, our last ordinance is ordinance 2024-06. This is an ordinance waiving bidding for 5 John Deere commercial Z-Track mowers. The reason why we're waiving bidding, it's like when we were buying vehicles, it was difficult to find vehicles. It's difficult to also find these, and we do have a lawn mowing season coming up, and Anthony was able to locate what he needed. This is a budgeted item. So we do have the funds, but you know, just due to the amount, it's like $78,500 that we had to put out for bid. I mean, I'm waiving the bidding, sorry, we're asking to.
But it's in the budget.
It is in the budget, yes, it's in his. Any questions on that?
I call out an error on section 3. Says the documents necessary with Superior Automotive Group.
I'll fix it.
Good catch, Cliff. Good catch.
We'll fix it. I'll get a guy to fix that for you.
Okay.
All right.
How many mowers are we running now?
Anthony,
How many mowers are we running?
hundreds.
Want an operation or how many we run a day?
We just bought 2 a couple years ago, so I just didn't know how many we running.
On average, we're running anywhere from 10 to 13.
Do we see that going down with the land going down, like with the development? Like I know we talked about that before, like. 13's a lot of mowers. I just
You guys
didn't,
can hammer me.
I mean, I'm just in general.
Okay, want to say, sir?
5.
We're adding parks and things though too.
But no, the answer is no to your, it's not gonna decrease. Where we're sitting right now is a fixed amount that we're gonna continuously mow until there's a nuclear apocalypse. We do have to provide mowers for facilities too. They're just not on the side of the road mowing. We do have a right-of-way crew that carries 6 mowers. We also have to have some in maintenance, rotation. If we just had 6, we would beat the heck out of them and they would be done within the first year. Because we're on those 20, the whole shift every day during mowing season, just to keep up. And then we provide some for the ball fields, we provide some for the parks, the facilities, and then right-of-way crew.
And then y'all are maintaining, you're doing the maintenance on those.
Yes, ma'am. We hold on to some older mowers that we no longer in operation. We'll break those down sometimes. But we haven't done a large purchase of mowers. We'll throw 1 or 2 in there, but now our fleet is so depleted. That's why Turnaround was asking for 5 this year. Cycle that through. Yes, we're very rough
I
on
can't
it.
remember you buying more than 2 or 3.
Damn, I can't even.
No, it's usually just 1 or 2 here and there, and it's just caught up to us over the time, because we haven't made a large purchase since I've been at Public Works for mowers. Our mules were run down as well, so you'll see that on the agenda later.
Any more questions,
Thanks, Anthony.
Counselor?
Ordinance number 2024-06. An ordinance waiving bidding requirements for the purchase of 5 John Deere Z994R diesel commercial Z-Track mowers from P&K Equipment, Springdale, Arkansas for the Centerton Public Works Department.
Someone like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-06.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second? Second. Roll call, sir.
Cliff Thompson. Yes. Justin Calgar. Wendy Henson,
Yes.
Josie Reed,
Yes.
Joshua Hagan,
Yes.
Cody Miles.
Yes.
All right, next, our first resolution is resolution 2025-05. This is agreement with Crossland Construction. Construction manager for our Centerton Recreation Center. Just real brief before I introduce the group, we did have 6 submittals. for this, and we narrowed it down to three, and our selection committee chose Crossland. So I've asked them to come, give this introduce themselves to the council, and I'll let you go from there. This is Chris. I can't say his last name, so I'll let you say it.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Chris Schnurbush. Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to say good evening and thanks for letting me come and talk to you a little bit about the project and our team and our company. Like I said, my name's Chris Schnurbush. I've been with Crossland for the last 32 years, and I've been in Arkansas now for about 28 years, just building communities. I have kind of a unique background. I spent 10 years in the field as a superintendent, 20 years in the office. And so I've got the field side and then I've got the office side. And where you'll see me in a project like this is I'll be involved in pre-con with my experience helping to guide the design and make sure that we get the right components put together for the building. And then also I'll be at the progress meetings as construction goes along, just checking on the project and making sure you guys are happy and that our quality's staying up and all those good things. We had to divide and conquer tonight because we have another project going through large scale or through city council in Bentonville. So we didn't bring some of the team, but I brought the most important guy, which is Scott Brogan, our superintendent. Scott actually built Bentonville's community center. He also built Grimsby out here outside of town. And he's over in Eureka Springs right now building the opera in the Ozarks, which is a fantastic building. If you get a chance, go over there and check it out. It's really something. I want to tell you, next slide, please. I want to tell you a little bit about our company as a whole. We are kind of right here in the middle of the country. It's kind of where we hang out. We're the 55th largest contractor in the nation. I've been in business, will be 50 years in 2027. And our goal is to be in the top 50 contractors in the nation by our 50th anniversary. And we're looking pretty good to make that goal. We do about 400 projects a year and we have about 1,900 employees and we, I guess that's about it. Oh, you know what? The most important thing on this slide is our EMR. That's our safety rating, essentially. Industry average, they say, is a 1. We're 0.41 as of this slide, but we just got updated and we're going to be a 0.38. We're literally one of the safest contractors in the nation. Building stuff's cool, but everybody's got to go home at the end of the night. That's the way we look at it. Okay. A little bit more about us locally. Over the past 5 years, we've done about $1 billion worth of work right here in Northwest Arkansas. We've completed about 120 million in just quality of life projects like this. Community centers, parks, recreation, just stuff that improves people's lives. 95% of our work is CM, just like this. And so we're well versed in that. And we have plus or minus about 300 employees right here in the Northwest Arkansas market. Okay. One thing that's really unique, I think, about us is we self-perform a lot of work. Like I said, we got 1,900 employees and 300 locally. We do demolition, earthwork, site utilities, concrete, steel, prefab, which is important on this project because right now in the very preliminary sketches I've seen, they're looking at using precast concrete walls. And we actually produce our own precast. So we ought to be able to guarantee time and then cost on the precast parts of this project. And then we do a little bit of carpentry work. Why is that important to you? For us, it's about our ability to control getting a project under roof because we've got the weather to deal with and all that stuff. But if we can control the earthwork and the concrete work and the steel, we can get a roof on a building and we can control the environment, ensure success. A little bit about our recreation experience. I mentioned parks. So we built, Kohler Park and Osage Park, and we're building 8th Street Gateway Park. We built Fayetteville Regional Park, Lake Atalanta Park, kind of all the parks really in Northwest Arkansas. And then fitness spaces, we built Rogers Rec Center years ago, of course, and then also Bentonville's Community Center. And then really recently, we're starting and actually just finished a YMCA in Oklahoma and starting another one and then an adult wellness center in Oklahoma. That'll be important here because we have really recent cost history on what it costs to build a pool, what it costs to build all the things associated with, a project like this. Indoor aquatic spaces, we've got a ton of experience there and they're very specialized and it's really important that you pay attention to the details on that or else you can get it wrong. And then athletic courts also have some specialty to them. So we have a ton of experience there with schools and all the things that we built. So that'll come in handy as well. And then finally, we talked about why to hire us, open and transparent communications, obviously the most important thing. I think I said it to the selection committee, but you know, meeting one, we need to break down your budget. You've got a finite amount of money to build something with, and we need to know exactly what's included in that. Whether FF&E and, you know, chemicals for the pool and just all the things that it takes to build a community center. We need to know where those things fit in the budget. And then our job is to help guide you to that budget, to get as much building as we can for that budget. We kind of have to know all the aspects of it. Right, team and experience. I talked a little bit about how much community center experience we have and just quality of life projects we have. We love these kind of projects because in my mind, you can build a strip center and drive by and see it, and that's great. But when you show up at a park or a community center, you know, on a Saturday and you get to see all the members of the community using the building, that's what it's really all about. And then we talked about our community presence here locally. And then I think finally, we really just don't want to build this project for you. We know that Centerton's growing and we want to build all your projects for you. So we try and develop customers for life. We try and, I used a story when we interviewed about Scott getting a call 8 years after we finished Bentonville's community center and they had a little problem. And Scott called me and said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, we need to fix it." So Scott went over there and fixed the problem. And that's what you can expect from us is we're everything, you know, it's really a small community, even though it's growing, and your reputation is really important and we're going to be there. So with that, any questions you guys might have about it?
Yeah.
It's not built yet. As I understand it, we can get sewer, so.
Well, that's a good question. On the flip side, how does it work with a city campaign like that with the impact fees? Just sure, I mean,
Yeah, I thought about it as well.
Tax ourselves.
do we tax ourselves?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't think we
Hoping
would.
not. I'm just, Anthony,
No, it's not a budgeted item.
I just wanted to
I
clarify
don't, I don't
that.
think.
Because I mean, if we're talking about a large scale regional
Yeah.
development, it's the same thing with that.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. Good question.
Awesome. No. Water recommendations.
All right. Any more questions for these fellows?
You're gonna make our money go a long way, right?
Make it go as far as we can get it go.
A long way.
And I put their, I see some of you have it pulled up. I put their
Yeah, the presentation.
qualifications in the Dropbox where you can see it. So.
Can they go help with this septic issue, you know? Partner for life, right? Let's get them down there and get them down there and start moving some dirt.
Let me throw this without disclosure. They are working with another city to help with that. Not him personally, but their company.
Oh, your company is,
A
okay.
branch of their company, yes.
Yeah, cool.
They're helping a neighboring, yes, yeah. We'll leave it there. Well, yeah, they can help.
Sweet.
All right.
Look forward to it.
All right, with
Scott,
that.
see you next month.
All right, Counselor, go ahead, then I'll put the contract thing in the other part. Go ahead.
Okay, and it's contingent.
Yeah, I'll write that when I say adopt a contingent.
Okay. Resolution number 2025-05, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk as representatives of the city of Centerton, Arkansas, to enter into an agreement with Crossland Construction Company, Rogers, Arkansas, for a construction manager for the new Centerton Community Center.
Someone like make motion to adopt resolution 2025-05 contingent upon review of the contract by Brian.
Make a motion, to adopt resolution 2505 contingent on reviewing.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call.
Cliff Thompson,
Yes.
Justin Cowger,
In the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, hell yes.
Whitney Henson,
Just
Yes.
saying, it's about time. This is awesome.
Josie Reed,
Yes.
Joshua Hagan,
Yes.
Cody Miles.
Yes.
And one thing I will just update, we're bringing them on board to help us with the design since we're early into it. We hope in April to bring more of a design of the project is, I think, our timeline. And we're gonna have a couple community meetings too. We'll probably have one in the evening here in this building, and we'll have another one over at the Coffee with the Mayor in April. That's our goals. And actually, our architect, part of our architect team's here with us too.
Okay, great.
So just to keep you all updated.
Okay, that's.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Appreciate you.
All right, next is resolution 2025-06. This is actually selling real estate or right away to RDOT. This is for the Highway 102 widening project, but it's also some right away. I got a diagram what they're asking for. They're also asking for right away there on Municipal Drive. Their plan is to line up this across the street. They're gonna put a traffic light right there. So their plan is to line up with property across the street from here. So they are asking for the right of way. A couple of things on this one that was different on the other one. They are giving us a total of $378,511 for that. The appraised property prices are in there and what they broke it all out. We will have to move our police sign in the front. The other one can stay, the fire department one. But the one that the police has, we're gonna have to relocate. And actually, we were thinking about maybe upgrading the sign at the same time, make it,
We might as well.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, just upgrade it to incorporate them both into one, but
Yes.
we'll cross that. There's also a fee because when the power poles are moved, we will have to reconnect the power to our building up front. And they did, they are providing reimbursement for that. So we'll have an electrician on standby for that. So that's all there is to that one. That's it. So any questions? All right.
Resolution number 2025-06. A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a contract to sell real estate for highway purposes to the Arkansas Department of Transportation for Highway 102 expansion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-06.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Oh, that was quick. Motion and a second.
That's you, Justin. You're welcome, Tom. Luke Thompson. Yes. Justin Cowger. Wendy Henson.
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan. Yes. And Cody Miles.
Yes.
All right, so now part of the remodel that they're doing at the Kenyon Sports Park, we are in need of backstops. And we did take bids for this. We did get two. The lowest bid was $75,000 from a company called WYN Athletics. And the cost will not exceed $75,000. That's what this resolution is for. Any questions?
That's all 4 fields, 30-foot high netting. It wasn't,
Turn this into Marley Ballpark, huh?
huh?
Turn this into Marley Ballpark.
We're matching what everybody else is doing, yes.
Oh,
Can't wait to see those tournaments.
Yeah, back behind the catcher.
like literally.
It's
stop.
it's back behind the catcher, yes.
I don't play
It just
baseball.
stops the balls from hitting.
Is there a warranty on the nets?
Huh?
Is there a warranty on the nets?
I don't know.
It can be 4 nets next year. Well, that's in 2.
I'll upgrade it to Teflon or something just for you.
Flat.
Any questions on this?
This work will be done while we're upgrading the ball fields.
Moving along on that, by the way, I saw that.
When's the plan completion?
By fall. I can't give you a definite answer on there based on weather. First field will break ground. We've already broke ground. The company will break ground April 1st.
It's awesome.
1 month projection per field.
That's cool.
So we'll rotate ball games, the remaining 3 fields, work around equipment, safety, all that other stuff, just a big headache. And then by fall, we should be fully launched.
Is there any way to repurpose that fence that we're taking down and using it at the temporary fields for now, since it's like the construction fencing?
What fence are we taking down?
Is she gonna take down the backstops at the fields, or are these completely
Not
different?
currently, no, because the fields are still gonna be used. There'll only be 1 field down that transition.
What do you do with the fencing that you're taking down?
Um,
Is that something we could use out at the temp fields right now instead of the cheap orange plastic?
Oh, they're actually gonna be coming down when we start building communities.
I have not incorporated my thought process in the 10 ball fields because of starting a construction and community center.
So
I don't even want to try to engage.
I like that positivity.
Well, I just don't want to engage Little League over there and then they have expectations and then we tell them, get off, we're going to start the community center. Because they've got a plan all summer ball, spring and everything else. And then I'd rather just rotate them there. And we will see how we can incorporate other things because we're doing parks and stuff like that, but I can't promise you we'll reuse that fence. But I try to do that as best I can.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
Appreciate it.
Counselor? You approve for the next one.
Resolution number 2025-07, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk as representatives of the city of Centerton, Arkansas to enter into an agreement with WN Athletics Eufaula, Oklahoma for the purchase of backstops at Kenyon Sports Complex for the city of Centerton.
I only make motion to adopt resolution 2025-07.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call in a second. Roll call. Roll call. Motion in a second. My head's all stopped up, sorry.
Cliff Thompson.
Yes.
Justin Cowger. Wendy Henson. Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan.
Yes.
Cody Miles.
Yes.
All right, this last resolution is resolution 2025-08. This is a request from Black Hills Energy to for a 30-foot easement on the south side of our property where the community center is going to be. This is look up some future gas down another subdivision down the road. They had a hard time getting some right away off of 102. So this is an alternate route. In exchange for us to give them the right away, they were going to provide us a 300-foot or up to 300-foot tap for our gas line for our new community center. So that's basically what that is.
The meter, it's the meter and the lines. It's not the lines.
Okay, sorry, yeah, the meter, the whole thing.
I just was making sure, Justin, if you had that question.
No questions on this one. You're under what?
Lines.
All right, any questions on this?
Resolution number 2025-08, a resolution authorizing the grant of the right of way to Black Hills Energy Arkansas Incorporated on a parcel of land owned by the city for the purpose of installing a gas line to service this property and others.
Somebody make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-08.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Thank you, Justin.
Second.
Cliff Thompson.
Yes.
Justin Cowger.
Yes.
Wendy Henson.
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan.
Yes.
And Cody Miles.
Yes.
All right, so next is we do have an opening on the Centerton Planning Commission. And we did put it out. We received 11 applicants for the position. And myself, Lorraine, and Jeff Safarth, who is also on the call, interviewed these candidates. And we chose Nick Jewett. Nick served on the planning commission before. He was actually the chairman for quite a while. And, you know, he stepped off due to family reasons, but he applied and he's, you know, got a lot of background in this and development and all different things. One thing I wanted to point out, and that's what I highlight on the board, this is for both positions. For this, by ordinance, to fill this position, you know, this is made by me, but we have interview panel that does this. It's myself, the planning commission chairman, or someone, a designee, and the planning director, or designee, and myself, Lorraine, and Jeff did all three of these together. So, I mean, all of them. We interviewed 7 out of the 11. So, Jeff, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think you highlighted most of it, Bill. Just the fact that we did interview 7 folks. The process has been a good process. We've been doing it for 6 or 7 years now, probably for 5, maybe 6 openings through that time period. And just the context of some of the questions, you know, we ask, you know, knowledge of planning and, you know, did the candidates understand what we do and what the planning commission's role really is as far as the city. We ask questions about, you know, have they reviewed the comp plan? Have they reviewed, you know, the master street plan and things like that? And then any, you know, thoughts around, that we follow, was kind of our guide. We talked to them about, what good, and I'll say good and negative about the city, what are their thoughts, and what are the next, 3 to 5, maybe even up to 7 years, what's that look like? We do have conversations about conflicts because there's guaranteed at some point, everybody on the planning commission has had a conflict. And so we really go through the process of, what would a candidate do if, they were on the planning commission and there was a conflict, whether that's a neighbor, maybe it's a friend or an acquaintance or anything like that. We go through that. And one of the important things we look for is, their response and how they would, potentially, recuse themselves from anything like that. And I think we've got a good process for us to do that. We also talked a little bit about, continuing education, and Lorraine has been, pushing that for an extended period of time. And so we also, talk to each one of the candidates about that. And so after that, then we, as Bill mentioned, we get together and at this point, we made a unanimous decision, based on not only what Bill mentioned, but also, what I just talked about as far as, each one of the candidates. And so, with that, we did make a unanimous decision for Nick Jewett.
Want to add anything, or I think we covered it?
I'll just add, I know one of the concerns is that he works on the development side. And we really saw that as a positive, that no one else on the commission, there's an engineer and so forth, but we don't have someone on that development side and he actually has a broad knowledge of being on the planning commission, helping write the codes and enforcing those codes, and he can see on the other side what the impact of those codes would be on a developer. So he can also look at the plans, he knows how to read plans, and plus we've had experience with him before. And I have total faith that he will make, a rational decision, and won't be for his selfish interest. He does not work for C3 anymore. He is on his own. There is one project that is upcoming, and he already knows he'll recuse himself from that. So I just wanted to kind of put that information out there. I just felt like he would balance out the commission and give that missing link that we need.
So you said he's no longer with the C3 Homes, or he won't be?
There was mention about concern that he was with C3. Actually, I don't even know that C3 has any projects on the works right now. But he no longer works for C3.
It's on his resume, it said president.
To the present,
It does say-
Yeah, it said president, but I think he told us the same thing.
There's one project that. You have any other questions?
What's he doing now? Is he still, you say he's still in development?
And is Nick on the line?
Oh, he dropped.
Okay, what I understand is that he's a consultant for developers, so kind of like a project manager when you develop a project, there's a lot of things you have to go and know and get, like filling out the applications, the right applications, and getting everything coordinated. So he's kind of like planning side, he's like planning on their side.
And that could be for the surrounding area. It's probably not.
Oh, yeah, he has,
I would imagine.
things in other cities.
Anything that would come here, obviously he would recuse himself from any type of involvement as far as the voting.
Yes.
And I'll just add a couple things about recusal. Chris mentioned a project as well, in his comments. We actually have 2 commissioners work for that company. They had to recuse themselves at the last meeting. We had another project which involves Bentonville water utilities, and one of the commissioners had to recuse himself from that. He works for them. So over the years, we've had people, and that'd be the same with some of us. I mean, if
Sure.
we work for a company in like some of these free zones or something, and we were to broker or whatever on them, so it looks like the same principle. I don't know, did I miss anything, Brian? Do you think I got it or?
I don't think so. I mean, council members, plan commissioners, I mean, anything. Put the city's best interest ahead of theirs, and it's improper for them to benefit directly or indirectly from anything, and they have to avoid any appearance that they may be getting that. So I mean, so long as he is recusing, I think it would be okay if he's involved in anything. I think Northwest Arkansas, it's not so bad now as it used to be. But I mean, we've got one major entity here and that folks work for, or their spouse works for, they're somehow directly related, and it's we're able to get out a little better. And I think based on what I know of Nick, how many years has it been since he's been on? I remember him on the plan commission, but I haven't had any communication. I don't think I've seen him since then.
I would say probably 4 years.
Okay.
6 years according to his,
But I mean, I think the key is that
yeah, 6 years according to his resume here.
the knowledge is out there, and that, yeah, he would have to avoid anything that would be involved in. And
Hey,
potentially.
Mayor Bill, this is Cody.
Yes, sir.
Hey, yeah, so I'll speak up since I was the one that started this. My concern was the fact that his resume clearly states he works for C3 as the director present. And that wasn't addressed in my communication back. I was told about what he was or was not on, not who he was associated with. So my concern goes back to us putting a local developer with active in a leadership position with active projects in our city on our planning commission. That was my concern.
Hey, Jeff, are you still there?
I am still here.
Yeah, you're kind of quiet. So we did address the C3 thing, right?
So yes, we had very specific communications with Nick in regards to any development in town, and he was very forthcoming in the project. As Lorraine mentioned, one project that he was aware of today, and what his response would be as far as recusing himself if it came before the planning commission. So he didn't try to hide anything. We didn't discover it by accident or anything like that. He was very forthcoming in sharing that with us whenever we talked about any particular conflicts.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And Brian, we don't want to turn out to be Gold Arkansas, dude.
What's that?
We don't want to be Gold Arkansas one.
Oh, okay.
I can show you exactly where it's at.
Anyone else?
I just want to speak to
Sure.
just level of, I mean, we've had something recently that kind of somewhat heated, and so it's important that we understand some opportunities may not be able to avoid that at all costs, but with this particular situation, it just seemed, I think the residents would be concerned about that, and that's what we're here for, is to look out for their best interests as well, and making sure that there's no, even the perceive of that, or perception of that would be concerning on my part. So that was my biggest
The only thing
concern.
I'll add to that though is the individual we're talking about, he was selling things to the city. Nick is not. So he's a member of the board, but he ain't selling anything to us, that's all been resolved, so.
Right.
We're not talking about Cliff, are we?
He's like,
I don't know, I think Cliff talking nothing
No,
about.
hey, yeah. I mean, it's the way I look at it, it's not anything, but like Keith was on the fire department too, and like when it came to purchases and things like that, there would be a moment where I'd step back and say, we'll vote on this. Like,
right.
I do respect that, but there's 9 people, I think, on the planning commission, right?
Hey, actually, Nick just popped back on. He's got his hand raised. Nick, you want to say something? Hey, Nick. He has his hand raised, but he's not speaking. I unmuted him.
But I would say it's not uncommon for conflicts to arise. Someone wants to put a pool in their backyard in a commissioner's neighborhood, they need to recuse.
Sure.
And I mean, I don't know that you can make the determination based on when we were expecting singles because of it's hot or it's cold or.
I do appreciate the fact that he's no longer directly involved with C3. I know they're a pretty big developer in our community, so that gives me a little bit more, you know.
I think the other side of this that has not been talked about is the fact that I think I would prefer to have somebody that is working and more is knowledgeable in that area as Nick has shown to be, more so than what we perceive could be a small conflict that he can't avoid. It's like Brian said, he can't avoid all conflicts. So if we have a good candidate that wants to serve.
Anyone else?
I think it'll make the planning commission even stronger than it already is. Having an engineer on the planning commission has been invaluable. Having somebody with road experience, street experience has been invaluable. So they have good leadership, good chairman, vice chairman to be able to manage that too.
So with that all being said, would someone like to make a motion to appoint Nick Jewett to the Centerton Planning Commission with a term ending on June 30th, 2027? That's the Phil and Jerry's on spot.
Yeah, make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second? Second. Okay, can we get a roll call, sir?
Yes. Cliff Thompson. Yes. Justin Cowger. Yes. Wendy Henson.
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Joshua Hagan
Yes.
and Cody Miles.
Yes, on the fact he no longer works directly with C3.
Okay. Thank you all.
Hey, I just want to say, thank you guys, for the support. Appreciate it.
All downhill from here. All right. So next, some of you might have got this in the mail and some might not have. But, like, this is the 2023 audit in your Dropbox. Again, like I said, some might not have got it because you weren't not on the council. I don't know if you got it in the mail or not because this was last year's audit, but I did put it in there. You can read it. A couple of things I want to say about this, so audit does come here 3 to 4 months at a time. They spent a lot of time here, and I just want to say on this audit, we had no reportable findings.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. That's the whole goal. I also want to acknowledge Shannon
Yes.
and her staff because they, with that auditor here, they spent a lot of time. We had some things that had to be cleaned up and we'll just leave it there. But
Some things.
anyway, she and her staff worked very hard to resolve that,
Yes.
which in turn, we ended up with no findings. So,
Good job,
I
Shannon.
just want to
Yes.
say,
Good job
cleaning
cleaning
up
up
and
and making away.
Yes.
and with that, would someone like to make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the 2023 audit? We have a motion, we have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Also, just so you know, this is on the legislative audit website. Any of these audits, this water department, all that's out there, so. All right, next thing. He's working on the ball fields. We have this fill dirt we need to get rid of, which a lot of it was actually given to us.
Welcome back, Anthony.
Welcome back. And
What's your name again?
Any fruit today? Just taking them.
Growing roots.
so, we want to dispose of this. The law does say anything under $20,000 I can surplus, but just to be all, since we're giving it to another city, we just want approval to go ahead and give it to them. It's not much value to that at all, but we just want.
Going into them for $1.
Wait, what?
So are they picking up or are we taking it in? They picking up?
No, we are delivering it. They don't have the capabilities of the trucks. We can do it in a morning.
Yeah, the capabilities give us relief on,
Free delivery.
Dollar free delivery.
Yeah.
Somebody make motion, let us donate this to the city of Decatur.
I'm covering gas.
Gonna put it towards sewer.
Yes.
We're gonna leave it at the sewer. No.
Yeah, put it towards the septic
They
system.
are applying it to their ball fields. This is infield mix that'll make their facility.
Better manure.
That's great.
We're just maybe rather passing it down.
That's great.
Good with it.
We got a motion? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so while he's still standing there.
Them mules.
Yeah, he spoke a little bit about the mules. This is also a budget item.
Real mules.
We did not have to put this out for bid because the bid law now changes. Anything under $42,000, you don't have to change, you don't have to put out for bid. However, I have a spending limit of $35,000.
Yes, you do.
I do, so this is 37,000 and. 39,487, so we just need approval.
We have currently 1.5 in operation. One is always down.
Oh,
What are you doing with it?
Uh,
What are you doing with it?
it's gonna be.
What is
two.
down?
John Deere,
Sell it back?
it's not worth it. I don't even think they'll take them back. We decided to try,
Sorry.
Kawasaki. They've got a better engine. They're cheaper. They're about almost $7,000 cheaper per unit. And they're a whole lot easier to fix and cheaper to fix. So we're gonna go with these guys, and see, how that goes.
One of those deals you kind of learn as you go, right?
They've always chose John Deere here. I don't understand that. They're more expensive. They're harder to deal with. They're more expensive to fix. We're gonna, I'm trusting Josh on this. This was his decision and his deal.
Josh,
He's back there.
He's back here, Josh is here.
I'm kidding. I take responsibility. But he is a mechanic. I am not.
well,
So-
that truck felt good hitting him right there.
Oh, so that's
All
good.
these type of decisions, I always refer to him because he is a mechanic and knows what he's talking about. So I trust him 100% with this kind of stuff. But they are cheaper and easier to maintain.
They got 2 cylinders, 6x9 speakers.
1.4, I don't know. Yeah, you'd have to get Josh up here for that kind of.
Do you guys have the ability to put all these in like a warehouse, or you happen to keep these out dry?
We do keep them covered. Yeah, we have sheds and stuff. We keep most of the stuff under covered. Only stuff that's outside of cover is equipment wise. We don't consider this equipment. Talking about like snow plows and those kinds of things.
Somebody can make a motion to allow us to purchase these.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second,
Second,
second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
You guys.
Last thing I have, make sure, all right, is also on this same sheet I made for a little while ago. Down here at the bottom, this is how we appoint water and sewer commissioners. So the remaining members of well, let me back up a little bit. So Melvin is the chairman of our water and sewer commission. He has been on there for a while. His term ended at the end of January. So, which he was, when they met, he was fine. And he has expressed a desire to reserve the remaining commissioners. The remaining commissioners made the recommendation to reappoint him to me. And that's what I'm bringing to you this time. And that's set by ordinance 9814, section 5. I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Melvin Caulfield to the Water and Sewer Commission with a term ending January 31, 2020. Damn, 33. Yeah, they're 8-year terms.
Wow, 8-year term.
8-year term.
That's a long term. That's you.
They are 8-year terms.
Josh made the motion.
Josh made it?
I made the motion.
Oh, okay, we got a second?
He said, yeah.
Is that a second? Is that a yeah?
Taking a yeah from Cliff.
Second, yeah. I'm responding to.
All right, all in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? All right, so under other business, I have a couple things. Josie has provided us the chamber report, which is in your Dropbox. It's the last document in there. Did you want to say anything on it or not really, or?
I think so.
Okay. Also, I've been talking to the planning department, Kevin was on here, and she has an opportunity with maybe a work session with the council and the planning commission. We were thinking about on a 4th Tuesday, maybe not this month or next month, but in the very near future, to have a joint work session and have some ULI training. Is that correct? Is that what it was?
CDI.
CDI training, sorry. And that's some of the stuff I sent you, that some of the courses you could sign up to, but
Like April? Or what do y'all say?
Yeah.
we haven't, I don't think we said it yet. We just want to see if there was an interest first.
Right. We'll have to get with them and see when they have availability to do training. Or this one.
And Kayla's here. Kayla, did you want to add anything? Did I miss something since she's still there?
Yeah, I can just clarify a little bit. It would be training to help understanding more about smart growth and community and economic development. So how our choices in council meetings and planning commission meetings impact how our city grows. I think it's a really fun and unique opportunity to get the planning commission and city council together to interact, see each other's side of making decisions and grow together.
Okay. So would y'all be interested if we set that up?
Yes,
And
yes.
It'll be a work session and it'll be
Yes.
here.
And set up like a game, a futures game. You make this, you have scenarios. You make decisions based on those scenarios and then maybe a catastrophe happens.
You react, yes.
So it's really fun how it works out.
That'd be great.
Okay. All right, great. We'll get to work on it and I'll let y'all know. Does anybody have any other business? Oh, I got that on here.
Yes.
That's under announcements. All right, so
Okay.
under announcements, Coffee with the Mayor is Saturday, this Saturday, 9 a.m. Actually, we got a guest speaker, someone from the Arkansas. That's healthy food and things. She's got a nice little PowerPoint and they're gonna come speak and hopefully get some more, and I hope y'all can make it. Also, the seniors are having a greet and meet with council members on the 27th of this month, which is a few days away, at 1 p.m. at the community room. Okay. Also, I just want to remind you, Chris did mention the planning commission meeting on February 4th. It might be good for us to come. I mean, I'm not all of them, but it might be good to show a good sign of support. Huh?
The water meeting next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, the water meeting will be next, I don't usually, I know you say, yeah, it'll be next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. and I'll send the packets. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So good.
You have a second, all in favor?
Motion, sorry. Let's see, second? Second, okay. Hey, Bill.